Let's see. Anybody? Oh man, there's people coming in. What up, Andrew? What's going on, Uncle George? Are you guys just as bored as me on a Friday night? I was complaining all last week. Too many shows, too many events. Now here I am still messing with cars. I have nothing planned other than I figure some people might need or might want to see these cars cleaned up. Oh man, all kinds of people hopping in here. OG James Brown, Stang GT, Tommy Main. Out camping. What kind of camping are you doing if you're watching YouTube? And where are you camping? I'm hoping that it's warm. I was up at the Grand Canyon last weekend, and man, it was ice cold. Again, while you guys hop in here, like I said, all I'm doing is getting cars clean. Man, I don't have to blame Gary for me getting all these bugs on the stalker vert here. This poor car, I know it looks good in video. It's got war wounds. I'm embarrassed to say I ran out of beer, so got my whiskey somewhere. I need my local friend Jerry to fill up the old Miller Lite fridge. All right, what do we got going on here? How many cars do I actually have? I don't know. Just sold the 82 GLX yesterday, got picked up, so there'll be a video tomorrow that's coming out, which all you guys will be the first ones to know. The kid's actually 13, turns 14 in like 2 months, so it's going to be his first car. Tropical storm. Man, hopefully, I'm glad that didn't escalate further. I know my friend Lewis is down in Florida, and yeah, they were talking about turning into a hurricane and all that other stuff. So glad to hear that that seems to have downgraded itself and passed. Yeah, James, man, whiskey, it's important, right? Help me get over my little, what do you want to call it? Man cold or whatever I was suffering from earlier in the week. But yeah, you guys will just have to like fish me with some questions because, like I said, I have no agenda. I was just like, whatever, man. I'll turn the camera on. Whoever's on or bored on a Friday night can join. I'll try and keep my ass out of the video while I'm detailing. Unfortunately, the shop gets dusty. I need to get the floors done. The unfinished concrete keeps things dusty and keeps cars dirty. There we go. Looking better already. Everybody catch Castle Customs video on the Stalker Vert. This is the most miles it's seen probably in probably 4 years. Gearhead might be jealous because, yeah, Castle got to see more miles in it than he did. Although, Gearhead got to witness the car with the top down. Top was not down with Castle. Oh yeah, man. Mom's recipe always works. Tony from Australia. What's going on, mate? Whereabouts in Australia are you from? Not sure if you knew this, but I actually lived in the Gold Coast for a year. I did my master's degree over there. So I'm familiar with the East Coast. I actually made it out to Perth a couple of years ago for a work trip. Had a pretty good time. So what is that? Margaret River, tons of like wineries and breweries. And yeah, you almost, you need someone to drive you around down there. Things can get dangerous real quick. What do we got here? Different computers. I'm assuming you're alluding to the fact that you found that A3M today, which is a 93 coded computer versus the A9L that most people are familiar with, or A9P being the automatic version. And there is a A3M and an A3 something. There is like an auto and a manual version of those. And then you have your like non-mass air computers. Honestly, I don't remember all the acronyms off the top of my head. And then funny enough, the Cali Coupe, because California had mass air in 88, and that one actually has its own special computer code as well, because it was before the A9L, A9P sequences started. So those are yet another 3-letter alphanumeric code on the computers. So there's a lot out there. I've even heard rumors of people magically running 94, 95 computers on a Fox as well. I don't know how much truth there is to that, but if there is, then it would be good to know for anybody looking to get computers for their builds. What else do we have here? Detail products. Good question. I'm usually pretty brand loyal with a lot of stuff that I use. That's like from the wheel brand and to seats to stereo, all that stuff. You guys have noticed that I pretty much gravitate towards certain brands, but when it comes to detailing stuff, it'll be like, oh, I'm going to buy all of Adams Polish's stuff this time around. And then once I'm out of that, it'll be like, oh, well, I'll use a bunch of Meguiar's. Honestly, they all work. And the thing is for me as well is I drive most of my cars, so nothing is like 100% perfect. Things are clean, things are nice, but I don't worry too much about it. I worry more about making sure that the cloths that I'm using are clean. I use clean water, 2-bucket method, all that other good stuff. So that's how I do that. What do we got here? Sammy. Yeah, you know what? We sort of kind of raced, but like unofficially and not at the same time, because we both got to drive Tom, aka War Admiral's car. And I think I won. I think based on the video that Gary put out driving the car, I want to say that Tom even might have called him out like, oh man, you were only shifting at like 3,500 RPM. Whereas I know when I drove Tom's car, I saw the shift light go off and Tom was like, dude, you're doing 132 mile an hour. And I was like, oh, okay, I better let off. So I guess I'm calling Gary out a little bit there. Melbourne, right on, man. I guess it's morning time for you. So you're getting right into your weekend. So hopefully it's a good one. And if we're going into winter here, you're going into summer. So you're probably getting into better temps there. Updates on the Lightning. Funny you should mention that. I was working on the Lightning earlier today. It's been raining here, and I wanted to kind of wrap things up on the ramp truck. And just with the rain and the cold, I wasn't going to work outside on that. So I decided to give the Lightning a go, and might go in a different direction. I actually filmed a little bit of a video on that on project, not like demotivation, but project realities, because I want to have that thing on the road by the end of the year. And that's not going to happen if I do the twin turbo deal. So I think I'm going to shift gears in terms of what I'm going to do with that. So stay tuned, and yeah, you guys will be able to see the updates on it. And what else do we have going on here? 86 GT, the car that Mr. Gearhead loves. So that car, my plan is to get the paint correction done, which I'm supposed to have my paint / detail guy come by, I'm hoping tomorrow, and I'll probably get it sent over to his place. I want to get all the door dings taken out of the driver's side door, get the car all polished up and looking as good as it can. And I think I'm going to try my luck on bring a trailer. So some of you might wonder, like, oh, why don't I just post it or take offers? I was supposed to sell, man, if you guys remember, there was a black notch I did back in 2020, I guess now, and it ended up selling to Kuwait. And I had already paid the listing fee for bring a trailer because it was supposed to go on there. And this guy just gave me an offer I couldn't refuse, so I never ended up posting. So long story short, I have this credit with bring a trailer, and I feel like that's sort of the caliber of a car, like all original with the paperwork and window stickers and all that other good stuff. So I think it's going to go on there. And I'm just curious to see, because I know it'll bring a lot of traffic. A lot of people go on the site. I'll be able to post some of my videos on the car on there and ultimately maybe give myself a little bit more exposure. So going to use it double-ended for a marketing ploy / to sell the car. So that's my plan with the 86. What else we got going on here? A from Kevin Sharp, Brantford, Ontario, hence the A, keeping it Canadian. What's going on, man? Looks like you guys had some rain today too, based on what some people were telling me earlier. So hopefully, well, better than snow, ultimately. Yeah, I guess that's pretty much where we're at with the comments here. So hit me up, ask me some questions, guys. Take a sip of my drink here and continue on detailing these cars. Oh, that's a big one. Ray Hoos. What do we got here? Oh, thank you, man. Yeah, no, it was awesome having all those Dutch cars there for sure. I honestly couldn't tell you the next time that you will see 4-numbered Dutch cars all parked in the same area. So glad we got to meet. Glad you got to see the cars. See here, I was using McGuire's on the black car. I got some Adams here. I'll try that a little bit on the strawberry car. Need more spritz here. Maybe you guys, oh yeah, look at the difference. See, that just goes to show, right? So when the GoPro's on and you guys see a video, like the car still look good, but that's how much better it actually can look. The amount of dust in here is, well, I probably haven't wiped this car down in 6 weeks, so I guess it's not horrible, but in reality, I should probably have covers on everything, but things look so nice uncovered. When you walk in the garage, you just get motivated when you see a bunch of clean cars. So I guess that's sort of my angle. I'm sure actually it was probably, who was that from Brantford there? That was Kevin. So Kevin's your car away for the winter now? Or you rolling the dice until the roads get salted for the first time? I know they start salting really early over there now. So I have to turn this a little bit here. There we go. I am sipping on Jack and Coke. Next big show. It's a good question, actually. Like, I'm not going to do any of the massive, like, international shows because I know Detroit will probably be, I think that's in January. And in terms of like big Mustang or Fox shows, I think the next one in line will be Ponies in the Smokies, aka Pitts. I would like to get to that show as I've never done it, and the location's beautiful. Gives you an excuse to do Tail of the Dragon and all that stuff. Oh man, you don't even have a Fox yet. Well, we can change that. What are you looking for? There's gonna be a lot of people actually probably trying to sell their Foxes up there right now, although I know there's probably going to be a lot of junk to weed through, but it is the time of year where some people, they just don't want to store their cars and they just want to move on and maybe get something else in the spring, change things up. So hopefully you can find something, man. Otherwise, depending on what you're looking for, you can always let me know and somebody's got something. I like to keep my ears open for anybody who's looking for cars. It is hard to follow up all the time. Every now and then, though, I got to say that. Let's see here. Oh, Hector, man. Red convertible. Saw you at the, or met you rather at Fox Resto. Right when I first pulled up. It's nice meeting you, man. I think you got, what, the 20-inch Cobras on your car, if I remember right. It's a nice looking car. What else we got here? Yeah, no, the strawberry, honestly, when this car is clean, like, it gleams. It is, I'm not a fan of red, and I own 2 red vehicles, this one and my E39 M5, but they are both really nice reds for being red. So, yeah, this is, I know even Derek Hansen himself, this was one of his favorite colors. Probably why this one ended up being a Dutch car. The only thing that I need to do now, which if you guys look really closely at the windshield banner, it's all sun-baked and actually starting to lift in a few places. So I need to replace that. That's actually looking pretty brutal when I look at it a little bit more closely. The 88 T-Top. That's one of those cars that I'd love to fix it, and I could probably do it pretty quick, but that car All right. Is everybody still in here? Joys of unreliable internet. I guess. If somebody can confirm that I am back in here, then I'll keep talking. Man, this internet is weak. Oh, here we go. I'm back on. Sweet. All right. Let's hope this keeps up because my little antenna icon there is kind of saying I don't have very much signal. All right. So 88 T-Top is one of those cars that needs some pretty good attention, like floor pans, frame rail repairs. It needs quite a bit. So needless to say, I want to make sure that once I start on it, I got enough time to like see that project from beginning to end. And because it is a personal build, it is kind of like at the end of the list, unfortunately. So I'm hoping that my 86 4i, that's at Spikes refinishing in Florida, that one will be ready, well, back from paint at the beginning of 2023. And then I'll be putting that together. And then I have a lot of customer stuff coming up for 2023, and that's probably going to be the focus of the year. My black 93 Cobra that I got up on the lift over here, that one I want to get together too as well. So those will kind of be my personal two for next year. And then Lemon Dropped has been put on the back burner, so that's still sitting up at Boogie's shop in Toronto. And then the T-Top car. So those are kind of going to be the two that deserve more attention, but haven't got it yet. So that's where those cars are. Jesse, am I ever going to get an SN95? Well, I own an SN95, and my SN95 is a 96 Dutch car and it's like an original Dutch numbered car. So it's got everything, including the ASG rear suspension, and it's got a built motor with a Vortec S-trim on it that makes an unknown amount of power. And it's sitting in storage, out of sight, out of mind, until that day when SN95s are cool. And then I'm going to like take it out and be like, I'm glad I invested in this when I did, hopefully. Fingers crossed that the SN95s will come back. Oh, there you go. You have a 96 GT as well. Right on. So yeah, that's the story on a few of the cars. My M5 is actually on its way down here. I've missed that car, with all the Foxbodies and the Lightnings. They're cool, but after being to SEMA the other week, there was an abundance of Euro flavor and old E36s and everything else, and kind of got me excited. So there might be a little bit of BMW content for any of you guys who might be interested in that. Diversify things up a little bit. And I guess that's pretty much it in terms of my own stuff. What else do we have going on here? How many did they make? Honestly, I have no idea. We don't know how many Foxbody Dutch cars were ever made, let alone SN95s. So I've seen a handful for sure, but in terms of numbers, unfortunately, we just don't know. I'm trying to get as many people who own Dutch cars to reach out to me so I can kind of log them in a database. And, there's a handful that I'm aware of at the moment, and that's about it. What we got here? Tony, Falcon Ute, SVO with Foxbody. Falcon Ute. So that is trying to think of an 89, the body style of those utes. And, oh yeah, because you guys still use the term. Well, I guess SVO would have been a term in 89, right? So, and you guys, instead of SVT, have FPV, if I remember correctly. So Ford Performance Vehicle instead of Special Vehicle Team. Let me know. Blue Pro Charge Coupe. So my friend picked that up. I, did the buyback deal off the gentleman that I sold it to, and then I extended it to my good friend Charles. So he's got the car here in Texas. He loves it. He, on occasion throws around the idea of Godzilla swapping it, and I tell him to just kind of let the Celine clone be as clone as it can be, because everything on that car works and functions, and sometimes you just got to leave stuff alone. So that's been my advice to him on that car. And James, you're asking my favorite part of SEMA. That's a hard one. Because there's events, there's products, there's all that you see. I think putting faces to names is probably one of my favorite parts, because you communicate with a lot of people online, whether they're, fellow enthusiasts or builders or products and vendors. So I did happen to meet up with a number of vendors that are really important, I believe, to shake hands and, talk a little bit of strategy with. So, had really good conversations with Ride Tech, another company called Universal Air that does custom air ride applications and setups. And then I actually met with the reps from Seymour Paint. So if you guys have seen, whenever I really paint suspension or engine parts or floorboards for that matter, I've been using Seymour products for the past year. So I had some really cool conversations with them, and they have some really cool products coming out in the near future. Are probably going to be a little bit of a game changer. So you guys will have to stay tuned, because as soon as I can validate that and get some of those products in my hands, I'll be sharing that with you guys for sure. Other than that, because that's important from the business side of things, important from a personal side is just seeing all the cool shit. There's so many badass builds, amazing paint, and just like you respect everything at that point, because you just start looking at stuff that you wouldn't go out of your way. We're so self-absorbed in our Foxbody worlds that, we go to Foxbody shows or Mustang shows for that matter. And then at SEMA, you're seeing everything from crazy lifted trucks to, off-road utility vehicles to, man, they even got saw boats there, campers and RVs and crazy off-road stuff. So it just kind of opens up your mind to all the other areas and makes you realize that, there's a big world outside of the Foxbody world, and there's a lot of stuff going on. And you start looking, especially I think the lifted trucks impress me the most, just to look at all of the crazy stuff that goes into some of that suspension and, the R&D that needs to be done when, new platforms come out and everything else. So long-winded answer to your question, but that hopefully summarizes it up. What are my take on the LMR factory seats? I haven't seen their seats in person, and I don't want to assume anything, because I always tell myself never assume anything, and I don't want to assume based on other products that they've released what my opinion is going to be. But I know the pattern isn't 100%, and I know that there's some people that have bought them and, are still on the hunt to find OEM, since you really can't beat OEM in most cases. The only time that you beat OEM is if you put Recaro seats in. That's my personal preference. And there was no special black made in 92. The only different for 92 would have been the removal of the knee bolster, and just kind of like a solid bottom cushion. But other than that, the tweed would all be the same. Black would all be the same. Anything from 90 to 93, all that black is the same, with the exception of door panels on 90. They would have the tweed fabric inserts in the door panels. But other than that and bolsters changing, that is it. What do we got here? Got Ray, 91 hatch, 4-cylinder, 306 swap, TKO 600. Well, it sounds like you're already there, man. Like, what's the reason? Are you just like having a lot of problems with it, and or do you just maybe want an original V8 car? Like, is that bothering you subliminally that your car is swapped and you want to have something factory and original? I'd say that if your 4-cylinder is clean, doesn't have too many skeletons in its closet, like big accidents or rebuilt titles and stuff, I'd keep it. We're at that point now. The whole V8 versus 4-cylinder bodies, honestly, who cares? If it's clean, it's clean. If it's swapped and done right, it's done right. To be honest, you might go out and buy a V8 car that somebody's had their hands on and didn't do things properly, and you end up ripping it all apart and rebuilding it anyways. So you just got to kind of pick the lesser of the evils and go from there, in my opinion. We got here, Tony, you're schooling me on the Australia stuff. I love it. Tick Ford and SVO Mick Webb. Oh, right on. Well, that's good to know. If any of you guys aren't familiar with Australian Ford vehicles, honestly, guys, like, just do some Googling. Look up the Falcons, their FPV line of vehicles. Like, they were doing some crazy, like, inline six stuff. If I remember, when was I in Australia? 2009. And, they had these crazy V6 cars and inline cars. Tony, you can correct me on that one. I forget, but like 6-cylinder, smaller than V8, but making like crazy power. You guys have been into the turbos and all that stuff from the factory for a while. So for anybody not familiar, look it up, because it's pretty crazy stuff. It's impressive stuff that you're just not used to seeing here. What do we got here? Stocker vert seats. Those are vert seats. So they do not recline. I took the shoulder seatbelt bracket off. I needed to in order to get the halo headrests to go down all the way. So they are still vert seats. So they're upright, in the upright position for takeoff and landing. What we got here? Oh, there you go. Well, that's an option you can do too. The 90. Well, actually, your 88 vert, if it still had 88 vert seats in it, I think they still reclined, because the way the rear plastics went, someone might have to chime in on that one. I was kind of under the impression that vert seats reclined until 90, but I could be wrong. Again, so many times I end up sticking Recaros in cars, I forget all of the intricacies of factory seats and gangster leans and not being able to recline and so forth. All right, James, man, you have a good night. Thanks for joining in here. Yeah, no, my lives are random. Like I said, I was just kind of killing time here in the garage. I'm probably going to wrap this up here soon anyways, unless a whole bunch of more questions come in. But yeah, I just wanted to say what's up to you guys, and figured, hey, you know what? Make Strawberry and the Stocker Vert look a little cleaner. So speaking of which, I'll get spraying a little bit more. You guys are more than welcome to chime in. Go drink some beers, or get some beers and drink your beers. I only spend so much time out in the shop. I should probably get inside soon anyways. side's almost done. What do we got here? Ways coatings. 4 lug bore bets. Man, you just got to look. And you got to keep looking. And honestly, if you find them in 5 lug, you might need to buy them and get them filled and drilled. Like, they are becoming so challenging to find this day and age that you just got to kind of go with what you can find. And even if there's something like 100% what you're not looking for, and then maybe you can find, use those in the interim, because people ask me every single day, and it just makes me want to hold on to mine that much more. Yes, the Barra motor. What do we got here? Power steering going with the manual rack. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. You want to free up having an extra accessory underneath the hood on your drive belt system and reduce the possibility for leaky fluid or any of those things. There's nothing wrong with a manual rack, and manual racks are designed to be manual. So, I don't even find them that difficult to turn in reality. So, it's a thing of preference. If that's what you want to go for, I'd say go for it. If you're unsure, find somebody who's got a manual rack in their car and just ask them. Be like, hey man, can I just try it out even in a parking lot? And you'll get a really good idea of how it feels. And if you like it, go for it. Yeah, man, I like the Atom stuff. It smells good. Probably one of the reasons why I like it most, to be honest with you. 50 boys, Illinois. What's going on, guys? Fill and drill. So you would have to take them to a really good wheel refinishing shop, and I'm not going to say it's a dying art. I'd just say it's a more challenging art to find. The reason being is that there's so many liabilities with companies these days, and everyone gets sue happy so quick. So a lot of people just don't want to do it, but it's really not that difficult of a process. They'll literally weld up the existing holes. So whether you got a set of 4 bolt that was the wrong bolt pattern, maybe it was 4x100 and you need 4x108. In that case, they could probably just offset and drill 4x108 and keep the 4x100 within the hub center there. Otherwise, if you did end up with a set of 5 bolt, then yeah, they would weld up all the holes and then they would re-drill the bolt pattern that you need. And that's pretty much filling and drilling in a nutshell. Well, thanks, man. Well, I'll tell you what, since you're in Australia and Simmons wheels are from Australia, any V5s that you can find me, or, there's a 3-piece 5-spoke, I want to say like a V90. Does that make sense? Detch used them on a couple rare occasions, and I'm struggling to find some sets of those. So if you can find them, by all means, let me know, even if you got to drop me an email off my website. But yeah, I would love to get my hands on some more. It's challenging to find old school stuff in good condition over here. And most importantly, ROH is Australian made as well. So if you have any access to some ZS, ZR6, Medina snipers, let me know. I actually don't know if it smells better than Chemical Guys. I have not tried Chemical Guys yet. So maybe when I run out of this one, I'll try Chemical Guys and I'll let you know. Let's see. any good painters in Ontario or Quebec? There are, just depends on how much you want to pay and potentially how long you want to wait. So my favorite painter, unfortunately, does not paint cars anymore. He's actually the one who painted the strawberry car for me. And he actually painted my white Dutch coupe sitting over there. He did that one back in like 03, and it still looks amazing to this day. So I guess, yeah, if you post up on some groups, I'm sure there'll be some really good recommendations of some painters. And in reality, you're probably going to end up finding the guy who doesn't advertise. It's going to be a guy that's really good, never has to advertise. And he'll probably only take on so many jobs a year. And if you can get on the list, you'll be glad that you did. Just, you're going to wait for it. And that's the reality of a really good painter, in my opinion. Because there's only one of them. It's sort of like me. I can only do so many projects, me personally, myself. So if I was a painter, that's all I did. Yeah, that's I'm sure I'd probably have a 5-year wait list. Yeah, Waze, you're welcome with that, man. Good luck with the hunt. You can also, I guess a word or a little tip is check in Volkswagen groups, because back in the day, VW guys, because Bourbettes are a Euro wheel, and a lot of guys put them on their VWs, and they actually share the same 4x108 bolt pattern. So sometimes you can get lucky. You might end up with like 17x7s instead of 17x8.5s, but again, it's better than no Bourbette Type A at all, right? Yeah, ZR6s are nice. One quick GT, and they look amazing on GTs. So good luck with your hunt as well. All right, let me wipe down the other side here. Gmail account, yes, the infamous project at gmail.com. We'll keep you in touch with me. I think I tried, you guys used to have like a Craigslist down there. It used to be called like Gumtree or something like that. I think I found a couple sets way back in the day on there. Just gotta get this done. Well, hopefully everybody's enjoying their Friday night and has a good weekend. So I know we're getting into the colder months. People are starting to store their cars and get into winter project mode. Got all my own winter projects to deal with. For anybody who's just joining, I was working on my Lightning earlier today. I'm determined to get that thing back on the road and sell the white one before the new year. So if anybody's interested in a really nice 2000 white Lightning, let me know. I will have it up for grabs. Optioned with the 22-inch Osvallas and without. What else do we got here? I'm catching you in coupes. Number 4. Well, good stuff, man. I don't even know. Do I have 4 coupes? 1, 2, 3. Man, you might have me beat. No, wait. I got 2 more. I had to think about that for a second because I got my 86 at Spikes, and then I have another Dutch coupe that is a roller. But that one really doesn't count as a roller, but I guess it still is a coupe, right? Anyways, congrats on number 4. See, Alan, you're late. It's fine, as long as you were busy drinking a beer. I'll let it pass. Almost cleaned up here. If anybody's into epoxy floor coating and wants to come do my garage, I will welcome you. Help keep all this dust off. So guys, just random detailing night. So throw your questions in the queue or comments, or just look at the strawberry car. Man, that glass is filthy. What's we got going on here? Snag Termi swapped one. Oh man, the like it looks like it's like electric current red or almost a strawberry color. Is it a factory color or aftermarket paint? That looked beautiful, man. Definitely a beautiful looking car. What else we got going on here? Yeah, Ray, man, you're welcome. You have a good night too, man. Happy Veterans Day to all. Actually, I almost forgot about that. It's a cold, rainy day, so I didn't even get out of the house. Well, except to come out to the shop. All right, I think I'm done. Some air in that tire. Strawberry will be good. F90, Tony. Those are the ones that I want. If you can find me those, and preferably an 18, or if you can find a 17 in a reverse lip, then I would take those centers and then I'd get them stepped up to 18. So anything you can find me would be much appreciated. What color is what year is the car? Because yeah, it really reminded me of the 93 electric current, because it's like a little deeper than what the wild strawberry is. What else we got here? Andrew. Yeah, man, no, appreciate it. Staying motivated is really important. I was sort of alluding to it earlier before some people jumped in here. I was working on the Lightning, trying to get that done, and man, I was demotivated could be. And then the worst part is that it like clicked in my head that it was a year ago when I put that new motor that blew up in the truck. And, it blew up a couple months later, but to know that a year's gone by since I swapped the motor and now it's down, and, despite the fact that I got a really cool, badass motor to put in it, need to be realistic and need to be able to, stay motivated and enjoy it and not just let it sit on the back burner and become one of those vehicle ornaments that just never moves in your shop, right? So we'll talk about the Lightning here soon on the channel. Definite wild strawberry. Oh, so it's supposed to be a wild strawberry car. Yeah, no, that's yeah, I can tell. It's still a beautiful color, but it's not wild strawberry. Molding Dutch kits for sale. Are you in molding? Is that why you say that? Or you just want a Dutch kit? Boredom night. Yep. Well, sorta. It was cooler outside. The missus was working late, and I just said, you know what? I'm gonna come out and wipe the dust off the cars because they were getting pretty dusty. And I was like, what the hell? I'll throw the old live stream up and see what's going on here. Let's see here. Project Viper. Oh, that's good to know. Yeah, I love the F90s. If anybody has access to a set or sees a set, please reach out to me. I will give a finder's fee. And thank you forever if I can get a set. Because I don't even have a set. That's the problem. As long as I have one of all the wheels I like, then that's good. But when I don't have them, it's that much worse. See, sometimes in order to stay motivated, you need to have multiples. Not everybody works that way. That's how I work. So I like to, I guess, fill some voids sometimes in order to stay motivated. And by adding more, like, can add more headaches at times, but it can kind of keep you stimulated in different areas. That kind of sounded a little naughty, but you guys know what I mean. So it's sort of like if you get tired on the project that needs body and paint, then you can move on to the project that maybe needs mechanical, or then you move on to the car that needs some interior. And that way you just kind of sort of rotate between what's needed between the different projects. Okay, what else do we got here? What's going on, Rum River? Oh, man. I feel for you, man. Rust repair, it just makes me cringe. And that is the 88 T-top for me. Before that, it was the 005 Dutch car. That was a rusty car, and it's just not fun. Like, between broken bolts and rusty bolts, seized bolts, and having to deal with cutting and welding and the dust. And don't get me wrong, it's a little rewarding when it's done, but just imagine if you didn't have a rust-free or didn't have a rust-filled car, and then you could be like putting all that extra effort into other places. So, man, again, I feel your pain. So hopefully you can get through that. Luckily, all those parts exist. I do have some rust-free metal on a couple of the cars here too. So if you do need anything cut out, depending where you're located, of course, can always see how I can help to try and get you some rust-free stuff. All right, Tony. No, I appreciate that. If you can email that over to me. And yeah, thanks again. I'll owe you some 2E's Extra Dry. It's one of my personal favorites. If you like that, I don't know. But a good beer when I was down there. Oh, right on, guys. No, you're welcome for all the how-tos. Sometimes I feel like I don't do enough, or like I want to do another one, and I feel like I'm just going to be repeating myself. So I'll keep at it as much as I can. Thanks, Jarvis, man. I appreciate that. Appreciate it a lot. Yeah, man. Sometimes you just have to diversify. You just got to know your limits. I am somebody that works better under pressure, kind of like last minute style. So it's like when I absolutely know it's got to get done. That's why I do like to give myself hard deadlines, or justification to have a hard deadline. Again, I've just done it on the silver truck. So
that needs to be done by the end of the year. Makes no sense for me to own 2 Lightnings and, you know, racking up miles on a low mile one that's in really good condition when I should really be using this one and abusing it because it's not perfect. So yeah, totally. Yeah, so I'm running a UUC lightweight flywheel and clutch kit, which I forget what they offer in that setup, but my stock one started slipping. It didn't slip until I added the blower, and then as soon as it saw a boost, it would slip mostly in third. And then yeah, I went to the UUC setup, and things have been fine. Let's see here. Yeah, you know what, man? If you're good at some fab stuff, like I can get you, well, if you can create a mold, number one, if you're good at fabbing and, you know, messing, because they're all fiberglass, right? So if you're good with glass work and willing to maybe take on a little bit of a project, then let me know. We can actually have a conversation about that because there is a little bit of a tweak that I'm looking at doing here in the near future. So we can take that one offline if you're serious. Just drop me an email through my contact form on my website if you don't mind. What else we got here? Jason, man, let me see. Let me see if I have that box. Okay, I don't have the box, but they're called Fahren, like Fahren, and those have been the headlight bulbs that I've been using. As for like turn signals and stuff, honestly, it's like a crapshoot. Every time I'm on Amazon, I end up ordering something different, and sometimes I get fast blinking blinkers. Sometimes I get slower blinking blinkers, and I just kind of deal with it. Obviously, the actual headlights are the most important ones, but yeah, those Fahrens have worked really well for me. So give those a shot and let me know. Rust free. So many DIY dumb things. Yeah, you know what? That's the joys of owning a 30-year-old car, right? That's pretty much where it is. And I'll tell you guys right now, I did a video on my 93 Silver Coupe with 20K original miles on it. There's tons of stuff to do to it, like stupid little things. And there's always going to be something. So it's, you know, like when you work your normal day job and you're worried about going on vacation and trying to get all the work done. It's like the work is always going to be there. And same thing with these cars. There's always going to be something, even if it's detailing it. Detailing is something. You got to keep, you know, everything clean and tidy. And then you'll get into detailing with like a little tiny brush and getting in between your caliper brackets and everything else. So it's a bad drug, guys. It truly is, which I endorse by all means. The Foxbody drug is a great one. Awesome, Darren. Glad you like that resto. Definitely worth doing, and you'll be happy that you did in the end for sure. Makes such a night and day difference having nice, clean quarter moldings around your car. Hicks House, what's going on, man? I saw like your funny little video there. You trying to get ready to do filming. You're like all on your chair, like not knowing how to sit and stuff. I laughed. I truly did. What else we got here? With speed sensor and everything else, so it won't stall at lights. Yeah. The MAF upgrade really isn't that hard. There's a couple articles on it. In fact, I think I have 2 videos where I've done it. If you just trying to think, was it tax return I wired it into? I think it was project tax return. I did the MAF in, and there was another one that I can't remember now, but not that hard. And, just be patient, follow the steps. I think I linked to the articles in there. There's like an old article from back on the Corral or StangNet or something that went around, and you just follow that. I think LMR's even got a tech article on it. So, yeah, check those out and you should be good. What else we got here? Yeah, man, one owner cars are definitely special cars to get. And sometimes, you get a one owner car that has super high miles and you'd never know. Well, the Detch number 1987 that me and Gary drove across the country, you'd never know that car it was a 2-owner car, but he had it so new that he pretty much was the only owner of that car. And with 250K miles on it, it was really impressive. So just goes to show, it's like the more hands a vehicle goes through, just the more opportunity for different styles of maintenance, upkeeping, performance modding, all of those things. It's like playing, what's that game? Banana Phone? Shit, I can't remember what it's called, but like when you were young and you'd be like sitting in a circle and you'd have to tell like a sentence, and then the person would tell it to the person next to them and it'd get back around. And at some point, it's not even the same sentence that it started anymore. That's pretty much the definition of how a Foxbody goes through its ownership cycle. Stalker vert content. Well, there you go. Stalker vert content. But if you haven't checked out Cazel's video, there's a bit of stalker vert on there. We went out joyriding in it. And you know what? Yeah, I'll try and do my best here to get a little bit more on that. I think I want to do a little bit more on the Silver Coupe or even Straw. I mean, all these cars, I think I'm almost at a pretty good point to do more videos on them. And, I forget. Time honestly goes by so fast. And I feel like, when I did the video on the strawberry car, it feels like it was yesterday, but I'm pretty sure that was probably a year ago now. So anyways, I'll keep that in mind, man, for sure. Little different. 3M flexible filler. So I'm assuming that flexible filler is probably very similar to the Evercoat, the polyester fill that I used. And again, the key when you're doing those windows is to use flexible products. And there's always going to be more than one way to do it. There's always going to be one more or other products that you can use that will achieve the same results. And you are absolutely right. Keep your fill flexible, keep your primer flexible, designed for rubbers and moldings and trim. And same thing with the paint. Ultimately, you want to use a trim paint that's designed to stay flexible, and you want one that is good for UV, so that the sun obviously isn't going to bake it off and repit it just like the factory ones, right? Let's see here. Cloth tops for verts. Yep, I love a cloth or canvas, whatever you want to call it, top. They just look more modern, in my opinion, and I've always wanted to do one for that guy and just haven't got around to it. That's still a factory top from 1993. Of course, the car's an 87, but I got a top assembly out of a 93, and that's still the factory top on it. So when I do change it, it will be going to canvas. So yeah, guys, we're just over an hour now. I am probably going to call it here, And thank you guys so much for tuning in randomly on a Friday evening. Hopefully I answered most of the questions that came through there while I was detailing some cars in between. But be sure to check out the video that drops tomorrow. That'll be a follow-up on that 82 GLX and the new owner, who is not even 14 years old, believe it or not. So be sure to check that video out. And then, like I said, I am going to have some content on the Lightning coming up, and possibly a little bit of a change of direction on that to stay focused and realistic, and most importantly, be able to keep the truck useful. So that's going to be it for tonight. Thank you again, everybody, so much for your support. As always, I appreciate it. And we'll see you the next time we do a random live, which I can say there's most likely going to be a little bit of a live reunion from the Fox block at Foxtoberfest. So me and Gary are trying to put together a nice little reunion video with some footage that we actually didn't share from that crazy journey that we did across the country. And then we'll probably have a couple other special guests on that live as well that stayed in the Fox block area. So stay tuned for that, guys. Really appreciate it, and we'll see you soon.